Hey guys, something a little bit different for you today, but during all this chaos, we want to give you as much entertainment as possible, and from as broad a range as we can offer. So here's a clip that was originally on WatchMojo UK that we think you'll love, and you know what, if you do, why not head over to that channel as well, and subscribe to us there, because we'd love to have you. Anyway, here's the list. Can you believe the US has tried this over 20 times and still not gotten the hint that it just doesn't work? Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 awful remakes of great British shows. For this list, we're looking at all the times the US attempted and failed to replicate the glory of the UK's top shows. While there have been some gems among the poop pile like The Office and Shameless, let this be your firm promise that no one does it quite like the Brits. Number 20, Red Dwarf.
He evolved from Catzer just as your distant ancestors once swung from trees.
Ancestors? His grandparents swung from trees.
One of the greatest sci-fi series ever produced, let alone comedy series, Red Dwarf is British TV at its finest. The story of four very different men drifting in space, coming across all sorts of alien threats, combined some unforgettable gags with some genuinely heartfelt moments. The American Remakes botched that balance. The only returning cast member was Robert Llewellyn as Crichton.
Must have made a wrong turn somewhere. You should have made a left at the last intersection, Crichton.
The rest were recast as Americans, the worst of which being Lister, who was just some traditionally handsome Hollywood-type bloke. That's not the bloody point of Lister.
This cat is quite clearly pregnant.
He is? I thought it was all the beer I've been giving it.
Number 19, Ab Fab.
Honey, it hasn't come yet, and I'm jonesing like crazy for a cigarette.
Eddie, sweetie, no! You just had that laser peel around your lips.
You can always talk me down.
Right.
Yes, that is an abbreviation of Absolutely Fabulous, because apparently the original title just wasn't snappy enough. While the first attempt at this remake starred big names like Carrie Fisher and would have been produced by Roseanne Barr, that ultimately never saw its first day in production. Then there was the second attempt, which we have had the misfortune of actually viewing.
Could you spare $1 for a sandwich?
Ooh, that's not how I roll.
Exactly!
The remake actually had some pretty good actresses too in Kristen Johnston and Katherine Hahn, but they simply didn't have any chemistry whatsoever. Only 3 minutes of this episode have surfaced, and trust us, it's not worth it.
Denying me one harmless little glass of wine after how hard I work.
Work? You hardly work at all anymore.
Number 18, Top Gear USA.
Tanner, do you see this? I can fit my entire head.
Okay, close your eyes. When we say Top Gear, what's the first thing that pops into your head? The trio of Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, right? Well, don't expect them here.
Voila! This is the life in here, Tanner.
Somehow, the show actually lasted 6 whole seasons and was praised by the original trio, but in the end, it was viewer interest that couldn't be maintained, and the show was cancelled in 2016. You know you're doing something wrong when present-day Top Gear looks like top-tier television when compared to this.
Ow.
Number 17, Trigger Happy TV.
Hello!
How's this for a kick of nostalgia? Many will remember this short outdoor prank show for Dom Jolly screaming on a giant Nokia phone. Just hearing that old ringtone will give people flashbacks to this day. But the rest of the show was actually damn good too, with Jolly taking on a variety of roles to prank the public.
Thank you for being quiet. This is a library. It's supposed to be quiet.
Unfortunately, when it hit stateside, Jolly wasn't the only cast member taking to the streets. 3 American comedians performed their skits and just didn't hold the same spirit as Dom's, who even expressed himself that he disliked the series. Number 16, Free Agents.
Ink's not even dry on the divorce papers and he is back on the horse.
Not the biggest show to come out of the UK, but definitely one that caught some attention. Free Agents was a black comedy that revolved around the mishaps at a talent agency. It was short and sweet, but not quite as short as its American counterpart. Free Agents USA changed the setting of the original and only had one returning cast member.
Chinese chicken salad, is that a salad made with Chinese chicken? Or is that a chicken salad made in the Chinese style?
This was clearly a poor move, as the series only lasted on NBC for 4 episodes before being thrown onto the streaming service Hulu, where its last 4 would appear.
You know, things are a bit rough.
Number 15, Spaced.
What are you doing in here?
There was a bird.
If you hear the phrase American version of Spaced, you probably instantly convulse. But no one hated the idea quite as much as the man behind the series himself, Edgar Wright. Wright was apparently opposed to the project the moment it was even suggested, but the production company went through with it without even telling him.
I'm thinking maybe like a unicorn, and a field of poppies and some sparkles.
She's got a lot of opinions.
What's worse, they actually still credited him and Simon Pegg as working on the series. At the end of the day, American characters reenacting scenes from American movies just didn't have the same humour as when down-and-out British characters do it, and the show never survived.
Now.
No, you don't want this. You don't want. What if I take his little friend here and I just do that?
Number 14, Men Behaving Badly.
However, can we in all fairness compare driving a car to making love to a woman?
What kind of car?
While not the worst remake America has to offer, it was unfortunately unable to get over with the American audience. The original of this series starred British staples Martin Clunes and Harry Enfield, and was constantly pushing the extent of political incorrectness on television. This was met with adoration from the British public, but when the Americans tried this in a similar vein, audiences were appalled.
I mean, you don't want some strange guy in your apartment poking through your underwear drawer.
The family-friendly nature of more popular shows wasn't present here, and with Rob Schneider, yep, that Rob Schneider, taking the main role in the height of his fame, not even that could save the series from cancellation. Number 13, Us and Them.
Jeez Louise, I can't believe we're finally gonna meet in person.
You might see this title and think, what the bloody hell is Us and Them? Well, sadly, this was what happened when the US tried to adapt the comfy tale of every folk, Gavin and Stacey. But you can't exactly recreate a love story between a couple from Wales and England respectively, so they just ditched that entire part.
There she is. All right, I guess inbreeding does work out sometimes.
Funnily enough, the two main characters still kept the names of Gavin and Stacey, which really begs the question as to why the hell they went with this bland-ass title in the first place if they were just leeching off the success of their British counterparts. Who knows?
Yeah, is it good?
Oh, no. Actually, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my mouth.
Number 12, Cracker. Okay, so you've gotten the idea so far that British comedy just doesn't translate well into the American format. But what about some Hard Knocks drama? Well, that's hardly better too, sadly.
I was nothing to you, but now you know me. Now I'm inside you.
The tale of a Glaswegian criminal psychologist solving crimes in Manchester was stripped of its setting and lead, turning it into pretty much your standard American crime drama fare that you could find on any other channel.
Let's start telling the truth. You will not find the answer in any of these. Freud, William James, Jung.
This one is proof that you just can't replicate the badass that is Robbie Coltrane. Number 11, Peep Show. When you think of cringe-based British comedies, chances are your mind immediately jumps to David Mitchell and Robert Webb's classic series, Peep Show. But sadly, when Americans got their hands on it, it became an entirely different kind of cringe. The bad kind. This pilot episode, which was produced by 20th Century Fox, is downright painful to watch and proves that whoever wrote it never truly grasped the concept of what Peep Show was all about. Thank God Superhands got out unscathed. Number 10, Life on Mars.
It's about to be writ again.
No way.
As
Initially, life on Mars looked to be making a name for itself on American shores. It was a respectable nod to the BBC classic, remade with energy and passion, and featured great acting, production values, and music. And then, that ending happened. Seriously, what on Mars was that about? Whereas the original had the amazing and bittersweet ending of Sam killing himself to return to 1973, this one featured Sam and the group as astronauts on the first manned mission to Mars, and the 1973 scenes were just a simulation. It was absolutely insulting and tarnished the name of the fantastic original.
St. Christopher medals seemed to work, huh?
I guess they did.
Number 9. Oh no, not them. That atrocious title is really all you need to know about this abomination. This series was set to be a remake of The Young Ones, a classic 80s sitcom that was renowned for its subversive humour. 6 years after its ending, Fox attempted to Americanize it with terrible results.
Oh! You mean the one with the enormous tits?
Nigel Planner, one of the original actors, was set to star in the remake, but he had an awful time in America and didn't get along well with his co-stars, which made for a troubling production.
Oh no!
The pilot was apparently awful enough that Fox scrapped the series before it could air, leaving the unseen episode a thing of legend. Number 8, Cold Feet.
They make some very underrated wines, the Bulgarians. This isn't one of them.
A comedy drama detailing the ebbs and flows of love, Cold Feet was a huge success for ITV, lasting 6 years and garnering huge amounts of critical praise. Then there's the American Remake, a show apparently so forgettable its existence seems to have been wiped from the internet. The US version follows the same principle as the original, only in Seattle. It was apparently watchable, not that we can prove this due to the lack of media, but even so it failed spectacularly to obtain and hold viewers. Granted, it aired Fridays at 10 PM, but one episode gave NBC its worst Friday night ratings ever, so Cold Feet was quickly binned after only 4 episodes had transmitted.
Shit.
Number 7, Viva Laughlin.
Oh, party.
You can't make it.
Yes, I can.
Viva Laughlin was an ambitious but ultimately failed remake of Blackpool, the popular musical comedy drama mashup about a murder in an arcade. With a strong foundational story, and behind-the-scenes players like the original's creator, Peter Bowker, and executive producer Hugh Jackman, Viva Laughlin should have been decent, but it wasn't even good enough to be bad. Upon release, the show was absolutely ridiculed, with the New York Times calling it the worst show in the history of television. Harsh, yet warranted. It was therefore cancelled after 2 episodes due to abysmal ratings. Also harsh, yet also warranted.
She's smoking, bro. I am so gonna tap that.
Number 6, Payne.
All right, look, I need you to run upstairs.
Rule 1 of adapting British shows. Do not, and we mean do not, touch Fawlty Towers. Unfortunately, no one was there to enforce this rule in 1999, so CBS went and touched Fawlty Towers inappropriately and made it into Payne. While it had the same basic premise as the John Cleese classic, it made 2 notable changes, those being a shift in location from Devon to California and a notable absence of jokes. While it was endorsed by Cleese himself, he was in the minority, which meant the show was canned after 8 episodes, leading 1 filmed episode to remain untransmitted.
Get over it.
Number 5, Doctor Who. Before the 2005 revival that brought Doctor Who back to the public's consciousness and hearts, there was this made-for-TV movie, which was supposed to be hugely successful and launch an American version of the show. It wasn't, and it didn't. Broadcast on Fox, this movie served as a continuation of the story, with the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, passing the baton to Paul McGann. Although it was well received in the UK, it was a ratings disappointment in America, and the hopes of a new American version of Doctor Who were quickly squashed.
I have wasted all my lives because of you, Doctor. And I will be rid of you.
Number 4, coupling.
I'll be about to leave. I'll be thinking, I'm finally out. She'll lean over, look me in the eye, and say, I'm not wearing panties.
Coming from eventual Doctor Who and Sherlock showrunner Stephen Moffat, the UK version of Coupling was a brilliant comedy that centered around a group of mates and was respectably compared to both Seinfeld and Friends. Meant to serve as the replacement for the latter, NBC commissioned 13 episodes of an American remake, but some awful acting and constant network interference caused this version to be embarrassingly inferior to the original, and it was instantly labelled a massive creative failure. It was quickly cancelled after 4 episodes went out, and the rest have been presumably taken out back and muffled with a pillow.
When I invited you to dinner, I meant dinner. Just dinner.
Well, I wasn't expecting an elaborate spread.
Number 3, the IT crowd.
We go in there, I make up a load of crap about computers, we see if she picks up on it. Go on.
Similar to the Big Bang Theory, only arguably actually funny, the IT crowd is a shining beacon in nerd culture and follows a pair of nerds in a fictional company's IT department. Due to its success in the UK, NBC ordered an American remake, but like most of their remake attempts, it was a spectacular failure. A pilot was filmed and numerous scripts were written, with Richard Ayoade returning as Moss and Joel McHale portraying Roy. However, even NBC knew that they had a dud on their hands after watching the pilot and promptly ordered the series cancelled before it even began.
I mean, they have no respect for us up there. No respect whatsoever.
Number 2, the Inbetweeners. The Inbetweeners was an Insta classic that perfectly captured the feelings of adolescence, with eerily realistic dialogue throughout. The remake, meanwhile, was made for MTV. That tells you all you need to know. It was typical teenage fare, despite a talented writer and showrunner in Brad Copeland of Arrested Development fame. It was quickly panned for being cliché, nothing at all like the original, and for just generally being awful. MTV ultimately cancelled the series after 12 episodes due to its low ratings in 2012.
I would have helped, but I don't think it would have gotten a laugh.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Skins.
Do it now, Stanley. I look in her eyes and what do I see? She smells like flowers and tastes like butter.
Like Inbetweeners, only much darker, more depressing, and not as funny. Skins was a huge success, in part due to its challenging subject matter, like mental illness in teens and drug abuse. And here comes MTV moseying its way in again. While the show wasn't completely unwatchable, it was much tamer in comparison to its UK counterparts, and as a result, was not nearly as powerful.
Yeah, there's a toaster pastry in the CD drawer.
Take it out, clean it.
It also quickly drew controversy due to its questionable sexual content involving underage teenage actors, leaving many advertisers to pull their support for the show, which, with the mediocre critical response, led to the series being cancelled after 1 season. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.